Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Hey, I hear that Nurses Week continues. I'd like to welcome the nurses in the audience. We love you, we respect you, we need you. Welcome back. We'd also like to welcome back stand-up comedian Kyle Brownrigg. Welcome.
What's up, Kyle?
Welcome.
Thank
Do you have any
you.
nursing in your background or no?
Actually, my sister is actually currently studying right now to become a nurse because she wants to be more likable. So
Okay.
there you go. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that.
That's a little life update.
It's a little life update, everybody. Well, we're going to get your take on other things also, Kyle. Starting with this, comedian Nathan Fielder. He created a fake singing competition for his HBO series, The Rehearsal. But now one of the competitors, singer Lana Love, she's speaking out. She actually told Variety that she lost $10,000 traveling to fake auditions. Yes, and she feels super betrayed. The question is, when does a joke go too far? Kyle? Comedian Kyle?
You framed it like I'm behind it.
This is your idea, Kyle. Defend it.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, this sounds really cruel. Like almost like early 2000s reality TV crew. You're like, is Tyra Banks behind this? Like, what is that? Like, first of all, like, it wouldn't be as bad if this singer didn't have to fly from New York all the way to Los Angeles back and forth. I think it was 3 times. She was $10,000 out of pocket for something like this. If this was like a local situation, that's fine. But like, this is just cruel. This is just mean.
Makeup, she lost money because she had to take time off of her work.
Yeah.
$5,500 she
Yeah.
spent. $5,500 on all of that stuff. That's a. You look like you want to defend this guy.
Well, let's just say, what if it were a real reality TV show versus like a fake reality TV show? She still would have presumably spent the money, right?
Yes.
And what if she didn't make it all the way? Would she be sort of very upset and claiming that she was defrauded, that she was duped and stuff?
I think what you
But
took
there-
away was the hope that she could have been something bigger.
But does it matter like this? She's actually helping to demonstrate like the thesis of this comedian show. That sounded so boring. I understand that. But Nathan Fielder, this show, I've only watched the first season, The Rehearsal. It is almost unbearable to watch because it makes you feel so uncomfortable. But I actually really like Nathan Fielder because I don't know of any other comedian doing the things he does and going to the lengths that he does. It's like he's almost questioning us, like, what is the difference between reality TV or TV and like fake reality TV? And he's exposing how impossible it is to prepare for the unpredictable, AKA you can't rehearse life. And so this girl, yes, she did spend a lot of money, but I think she would have spent a lot of money if she were trying out for a real show, and therein lies this unusual, wonderful, magical thing.
Wonderful.
Is it real or is it not real? Plus,
When you got bills to pay and rent, it's real, babe. It's real.
Yeah.
this woman, guess what? She's featured now on an HBO show. She has a song coming out, and we're talking about her today. I argue, or presuppose
wanna
maybe,
defend?
that she might have found more success being on a fake reality TV show than she would of a real one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait. Okay. You did a good job. You did a good job as his lawyer, but let me just give you my personal example.
Okay.
I found this story very triggering because I don't know anybody else in the audience or maybe people watching. I've been on a lot of auditions, and emotionally, it's terrible. It's an emotional roller coaster. Not only can it cost you a lot of money, but you really want that job. That's why you're going to the audition. And I remember I had an audition that I had 24 hours to make a decision whether I was gonna go. I had to fly to Los Angeles. I would have 1 day. So I had to fly in. That's a 5-hour flight from Toronto to LA. And I could only do the audition and fly out the same day. I spent $2,700 on that flight. I did not have that money. I used my credit card. I could barely eat on that flight because I didn't have the cash. Now, I ended up booking the job, thank goodness. But I'm just imagining all the stress that I went through on that day, and for me to get there and for someone to go, ha, it's a joke. We just wanted to see and experiment with your feelings. I would be flipping tables. I would be so upset.
Even if you still got on
no,
TV?
I did not sign
Even
up.
if you still got fame?
I didn't sign up to be on a reality TV show. If I want to do that, then I'll do that. But I auditioned for something, and this woman is a performer, she's a singer. So there are gonna be some people who are like, listen, I don't want to be famous for doing that, or else I'd audition to be a housewife.
Yeah.
On Bravo. I audition because I take my craft very seriously. And so I don't like you messing with me and using me as a lab rat.
Well,
so
they're
you can
manipulating.
Be like,
It's full-blown manipulation. I think if you were upfront with her and she still chose to do that,
then it's different.
That's different. And speaking of housewives, you know Bethany Frankel, she's one of the most famous housewives out of the franchise.
Yeah.
She has now turned around and she has gone after a lot of these reality shows.
Yeah.
And she says, you guys don't understand just how bad that these reality stars are exploited and manipulated. She's been supporting people like Raquel Leviss and Leah McSweeney and a lot of the Bravo lebs in that universe, because she's like, no, it's a David and Goliath.
Yeah.
She's like, they have very unfair, unethical practices. For example, exploiting people who have mental illness, exploiting people's addictions, exploiting the fact that if you don't have the money and we're making you spend money you don't have. This is all exploitation. So there is a very dark underside to reality TV, which makes me ask the question, is that on us because we like to watch?
Well, Nathan Fielder would be like, Mel, that is exactly what I'm talking about in the show, exploring the artifice of reality TV. So he would be like, yes, Melissa Grelo, thank you for supporting my show.
I think, if we were talking about people who didn't have a skill and it was like, just come, we're not going to tell you what the show's about, it'd be different. But when you have someone who actually has a skill and a talent, and this is how they want to make their living, it's very different.
On reality TV, that's how you want to show your talent?
No.
Nathan Fielder,
she thought she was going to an audition.
But
an audition
for her
for
talent
reality
as a singer.
TV.
For her talent
but Nathan Fielder, he is a very accomplished comedian. He is from Canada. He got his start on 22 Minutes. He went down. He has done these type of experimental shows with like Sacha Baron Cohen. He was 2-time Emmy nominated. This was just a great, brilliant comic that unfortunately just made a bad decision. And unfortunately, in a creative career, this is gonna happen. And as an artist myself, it's like sometimes you make a bad call, and I have to agree with you. I think this is a bad call.
Okay.
But she did spin it, and now we're all talking about her.
Okay, so Kyle,
there you go.
Kyle, for you as a comedian, where's the line for you?
I do Roast Battle Canada. I've done 3, Kwame over here. Yeah, we did Roast Battle Canada
Yes.
together. We did 3 seasons together. And the difference about that, when you're making fun of each other and you're being the butt of the joke, it's entirely consensual.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of what that, also with roasting, it's like you only roast people that you love. She had no idea what she was walking into, and she had the rug pulled out from under her. And again, like I just keep using this word, but to me, this is very cruel. I don't like awkward comedy. I can't watch The Office. I get triggered, you know?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I
understand being uncomfortable, but maybe we're being almost like we're couching her in too much softness, because she said about Fielder, I'm not sure if he's a psychopath or a genius. He might be showing us our flaws through himself.
It could be
which
both.
is exactly. Often cases they are going hand in hand, aren't they?
Well, I will say, I'm going to give her all the flowers. She broke a non-disclosure agreement. For those who don't know, that's called buying your secrecy, right? If they say, you have to sign this, which means you cannot talk about anything that happens on the show. She stuck her neck out and said, this is so wrong. I'm actually going to break the NDA that I signed for this show to let the world know. And by the way, it wasn't even a reality singing show. It was actually about pilots. Follow me here. The show was about pilots, and he said, you know what, maybe because the majority of air travel mishaps happen because pilots aren't communicating better, let's put them in a scenario where they are forced to learn how to communicate with one another better.
That's the comedy part.
Which is why
that's the comedy part, though.
Who's laughing here? We're not always laughing. That whole thing. What was funny about that?
Funny.
Where was the funny in that?
I have no idea.
Thank you.
Well, I will say Nathan Fielder was on our show about 10 years ago, and I was the only one that liked him, and I still like him.
We would welcome you back any day, Nathan. Come on back. Come on back.
Film journalists around the world have signed a letter of protest expressing frustration at their lack of access to stars at the Cannes Film Festival. They say meaningful coverage is being sidelined in favor of promotional appearances and sound bites. So, should we be concerned that traditional journalism is falling by the wayside at these festivals? Audience? Okay,
Really?
you guys are upset.
It's really interesting. I thought you all would be like, man, who really cares?
Yeah.
Like, who really cares? And not because journalism isn't important. Of course, we will all argue that journalism is important. But I think increasingly, when it comes to any studio putting so much money behind big, big films, they're not wanting necessarily always free access of the press. This becomes a huge marketing event. They are putting millions of dollars to launch a movie. And there are so many examples when really good journalists are asking really tough questions of actors, and then they say something dumb, and then they're not talking about the film, or in fact, the film gets really put on the rocks. So for example, there was a lot of controversy around the Snow White films and Rachel Zegler's comments. There have been, listen, we're still talking about Blake Lively and Jason Baldoni with this ongoing saga, and that sidelines what a studio wants to do, which is talk about the film and make a lot of money. So I think instead of journalism,
what the film journalists want to do too.
Exactly, it's true. And I mean, sure, I think they would argue that as well. So I think when marketing over journalism come head to head, I think the marketing is winning, sadly.
What do you think, Kyle?
I think it's a little overwhelming whenever you're doing a red carpet and then there's just so many media outlets and you have to talk to every single one of them, and an actor or a musician or a comedian has to be on and genuine and sincere, but like 20 or 30 times like in a row on a red carpet. I think that what this specifically is talking about, I think that Cannes is bringing in way too many journalists, influencers, whatever, because they're saying that there's so many people at the table and everybody is like these like hens clucking, trying to get the. It's like clearly that's on the festival. Maybe it's a money-making opportunity for the festival because these you know, journalists have to pay a certain amount to have access. I'm sure that Cannes is probably just raking it in. I think they probably just need to reduce that number, and by reducing the number, it will allow more access to the actors, and also they'll probably give better answers because they won't be so overwhelmed.
More meaningful conversation. That's really, really interesting.
You know what? I'm a little bit more pessimistic about this because I got into this business because of great journalists like Brian Linehan. Some of you are too young to even know who that is. Or James Lipton. You know, Inside the Actors Studio. Remember those interviews? Those are the people who encouraged me to get into entertainment reporting because it was real. And I have noticed over the years that we have been less interested in those types of journalists and more interested in hiring people who have a huge social media following and having them do the red carpet, because I think a lot of people think that entertainment and covering movies is fluff and anybody can do it. So they give you some mini microphone and you ask all these silly questions like hamburgers or hot dogs to some really serious journalists.
I don't know.
Listen, it has happened. And so I'm seeing, like, I understand what they're talking about. They want more serious journalists, but we've done it to ourselves. Like, I'll give you, for example, look at the Oscar red carpet, live red carpet on ABC. They used to have real journalists doing those interviews. Now they have a swimsuit, a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and they have a judge from, what's that show?
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars. Those are the people interviewing the actors and writers and producers. Where are the journalists? They're not interested in that because the person who has the microphone has 3.5 million followers. And that's what these companies are more interested in. They're more interested in having you there because you have a huge following.
Clicks, not hard journalism.
Do you know what? At first I was I was ready to say that this is so sad, you know, we're losing out on film journalism. And then I was like, no, wait a second. Think about podcasts. Have you guys heard of them? Podcasts? I can honestly look up any director, any actor, and find hours and hours of meaningful, funny, deep conversations that go on and on. The kind of conversations that don't happen at a film festival in a 4-minute junket, a 4-minute red carpet interview, a 4-minute press conference. So I think the long-form medium has actually just found a new home. And the journalists are still doing it, and the journalists maybe some of them might be overselling like how much access they had to begin with and how meaningful those moments were.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I also want to take this moment to shout out our journalists at eTalk who are amazing and do a great job and really think about crafting intelligent questions when they are on the red carpet. Can't forget them because, you know, it's still important to shout them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of the stars, over a decade after he starred in the musical comedy Rock of Ages, Tom Cruise says he wants to sing once again. Tom told a British film presenter, He told a British film presenter that he's open to musicals and that his goals are endless. So Kyle, are we due for the Tom Cruise musical?
I am down.
You guys are mean. Damn.
Listen, I am down for the Tom Cruisical. I have to be honest with you. Because this is going to elicit the gasp. I am a gay man. I don't like musicals. I don't like them.
What?
I don't like musicals. I never, I
There
know.
goes your gay card.
No, I
honey.
know.
You're out the club
I know.
now.
But is this a movie or a stage performance? Because Tom Cruise is famously very, very short. Right? I want to see
short.
this on stage. I think he'd be like a shoo-in for like the Lollipop Guild and the Wizard of Oz, you know? Like,
short.
where would he be cast? Because I mean, in comparison
He's
to the
like
rest,
5'9".
no, he's not.
He's 5'9".
No, he's not.
He's tiny.
He's 5'7".
You can put him in a baby Bjorn and you're good to
No,
go.
I
Like
can't.
he's just a little
Oh, my
baby.
Just a little.
Derek
just a little
Borgie is
baby.
getting very
Yeah,
upset
he's
with all the
getting-
short
yeah.
jokes over there. Derek's like, hello, I'm in the room.
But he is an amazing actor, 3-time Oscar nominee. He should have won for Memento. I digress. But truly, he is insane. Like he is so crazy, and he commits and he believes it's real. I think if we get that in a musical capacity, I think it would be a huge hit. I am down for
Interesting.
for the crucible. Yes, for the crucible.
You
yes.
kind of swayed them. Listen, he has proven to us that he can do anything he
Yes.
puts his mind to. He has jumped off cliffs, off of planes, so I'm not going to tell Tom what he can't do. I just want to remind them the last time he was in a musical was 2012, and it's been a minute. And since then, we've had some very talented actors who brought a lot of talent to the big screen. I'm talking about Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls. That was really good. That's a musical. Then there was, of course, Jamie Foxx in Ray. That was incredible. Hugh Jackman in everything he does, right? And then, of course, Cynthia Erivo, who was just in Wicked. So the bar is a little high. So I'm just gonna tell
He
Tom.
likes a high bar.
I know. I'm just gonna
He
tell
likes
him.
it.
He can't reach it. He
He'll
can't
go
reach
for
it. But he's trying.
He's trying.
But
I
he
think
can't
he's
reach
gonna do it. He can jump out of a plane. I think he can do anything.
Tom's height is just taking a hit everywhere
He
we turn.
is.
Okay.
I like my Tom jumping out of planes. I like my Tom on motorcycles.
Yeah.
I like my Tom as like a fighter pilot. You know, I don't want Tom tap dancing in the streets.
You don't
I
want
don't
to be
want
like
to hear him singing
Melissa,
in the streets.
I have something to tell you. You don't want that?
No, I wouldn't. I like my Tom the way I like my Tom. I think he's being realistic. He's 62. How much longer is the guy going to throw himself off of cliffs?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
I think for his own safety, he can't do this for much longer. But I actually think this is a little deeper. When he says, you know, the opportunities are endless, I think he's starting to feel what a lot of female actresses feel, which is the roles for someone as they get older.
These missions aren't so impossible anymore.
They're mission
They're-
Mission
They're no possible
Impossible
now.
is a different situation.
Yeah.
So I think he thinks a musical or, you know, whatever. He doesn't want to turn into an Al Pacino or whatever. He wants to kind of keep being relevant. So maybe a little. It's gonna get there.
Maybe.
Do theater, do Shakespeare,
We'll
do
see.
something like that. That to me makes more sense.
Maybe
but you
so.
know what? I'm not his agent. Do what you got to do.
Well, Major League Baseball Commissioner Ron Manfred announced Tuesday that Pete Rose, also known as Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased players have been removed from their permanently ineligible list, saying that they no longer pose a threat to the integrity of the game and clearing the way for them to be considered for now the Hall of Fame. So Pete Rose, he was actually banned for betting on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds, and Jackson for allegedly fixing the 1919 World Series. Okay, these guys have all passed, but now the commissioner is saying, they're not banned for life anymore. Let's open it up. So they're dead. Does it matter?
Can I just say, being shocked that somebody in the world of sports is participating in gambling is like saying you're shocked that a rock and roll person did drugs in the 1970s. When I was reading this, I thought, oh, he must have done something unforgivable, like a Bill Cosby, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, like what was it? And they're like, gambling. And you're like, are you stupid? Like, what is this? I can't.
You don't care that they lifted the ban.
No. Like, let him be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I think this is ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah,
don't
I
you
think this
think-
is insane.
Don't you think it's a little confusing? Like they're opening up the doors for these people that literally can't walk through them? And the idea, like you're gambling, maybe at the time, maybe gambling was such a big deal, but now that you're dead and you can't enjoy the redemption, it's okay now. Like all of it is just so confusing.
I'll make it even
to
more
me.
confusing because he's eligible, but then there's a certain body that can't vote for him. So the Baseball Writers of America, they vote every single year. They are not eligible to vote for him to be in the Hall of Fame. But the Veterans Committee can vote for him, but they can only vote every 3 years. So he's really not eligible to be voted into the Hall of Fame until 2028. Is that making it clear as mud?
A little bit,
See,
a little bit.
It's actually even, I mean, yeah, of course it's so calm. Of course it would be like that,
Yeah.
right? It's actually much more simple, and it has everything to do with a guy named Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Donald Trump has infiltrated every single facet of American life, and they are just kicking themselves. Because this guy, this Commissioner Manfred, just recently was like, I am never gonna overturn this ban. It's never gonna happen. It's just don't even talk about it anymore. So what was the about face? Donald Trump started to message on his own thing saying these guys should have their bans overturned. But why does that matter to Rob Manfred? It turns out that he and many other commissioners of all of these professional sports leagues are currently actually being, what's the word, investigated? Not investigated. The federal government of the United States is right now looking at should professional sports leagues allow the streaming service to go directly from the MLB directly to the consumer. There's a lot of antitrust things going on. There's a lot of stuff that Donald Trump can either say yes to or no to. And one of them is the MLB commissioner saying, we want to be able to stream MLB games direct to consumer and make all the money off of that streaming service.
Right.
Trump has said, I want this guy, Pete Rose, overturned. And guess what Manfred said? Oh yeah, you know that thing that I said about him being banned? Forget about it. So it's all just business.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about these dead guys.
Although maybe Donald Trump's like, listen, I'm a cheater and I'm not that bad, so let's do it.
Yes, exactly.
What's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? With my little hands.
Oh my God, I like the inside baseball, Mel. But who's this for? Because they are dead. Like, is it for the family? Because if it is for the family, I think if I were a family member, I would be like, you can keep your plaque. You spent decades like destroying the name of my family member.
Pete Rose,
Wait.
Rose's
But if
family
we
wants
could
it.
make
I know,
money, but
which
wait,
is
if
so
he's in the Hall of Fame and we can make more money off his
I
likeness,
changed
I'd
my
be
mind.
like,
Yeah.
wait a second, put him in there.
Yeah.
We
I'll
got
take
some
the plaque.
t-shirt and mugs to sell, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that Trump gets everywhere. You know who's everywhere also? Kyle. Kyle, thank you for coming back. Come back.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.